Not yet morning. Welcome all to this exciting conversation presentation that we're going to have from Mr. Bryan Bruce. He is a CEO, founding member of one of the fastest growing digital marketing company, content-driven marketing company. He has a lot of information, insights, and practical strategies to share with us. Once again, thank you all for coming here, and just a quick reminder, this is a joint event by Meis Center, Dr. Sweeten's class, and my product marketing class. So if in any case, if you haven't swiped your card outside or haven't registered your name, there is no way for me to figure out who is here, okay? So to get that, your name being recognized for whatever reasons for the class purposes, just make sure it is being recorded outside, okay? Without further ado, let me hand over the proceeding to Mr. Bruce, and then he will have all the stories for you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. It's always exciting to talk about what it is that you love. And I certainly love marketing, but more importantly, I love digital marketing. I love communicating. And this morning I'm going to share with you a little bit about who I am and why I'm here and what the future holds, not only for my company, but also for you, if you plan to stay in the field of marketing, or if you plan to stay in the field of communications, or if you plan to be in business. For crying out loud, this is where the future is. It's where right now is. By a raise of hands, how many of you are on Facebook? And by a raise of hands, how many of you are on Twitter? How many of you are on Instagram? So it's pretty much what I had thought. Everybody is engaged with these networks at some degree. And if you're not on Facebook, maybe you were and you got off it for one reason or another. But really, for me, what it is that where are people paying attention today? And to me, when I walk through an airport and I see people buried here, if I go to a trade show or a conference and people are buried in their phones, if I'm sitting at home watching a football game and I look over at my daughter on the couch, she's in her iPad mini, it's where people are paying attention. And for marketers, for us, what we want to do is get our message through to people where they're paying the most attention. And right now, whether we like it or we don't like it, it's on the mobile devices. And it's really been an explosion over the last several years. I mean, I remember back when I was a kid, cell phones, didn't exist. Now it's like a foregone conclusion. It's in your pocket. It's always in your hand. I mean, I'm sitting here talking to you with a phone in my hand. My daughter is 9 years old, and I'll have her in the presentation a little bit. And really watching her grow really helps me understand where my energy is, where my focus needs to be, because she's 9 now. She was 3 like last week. Now she's 9, and in about another week or two, she'll be 15, 16 years old, and I'll be needing to buy her a car. So time is flying and time is moving fast, but it's where they're paying attention. So I'd like to get in and just share a little story. I am the CEO. I like to call myself just another member of the team. We have a small team, a growing team. We have a very, very interesting client base from Disney to SeaWorld, Detroit Pistons, and a lot of big brands, a lot of universities, Arizona State, South Florida. But really what I have found to be the most exciting part of what we do is helping small business. Helping small business, helping businesses with small budgets, helping businesses that aren't marketing. They're just running their pizza shop, or they're doing this, or they're doing that, and they're not marketing. Helping them start to use this channel, this mobile channel, this social networking to get the word out about their business. So I'm going to start off by just encouraging you to engage with me. Many of the students I spoke with yesterday, and many of you already here in this room today, have started to follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn. I encourage that. Whether you like it or not, a lot of people are basing your future employment, new business opportunities, maybe even relationships based on what they're reading on these networks. So I encourage you, if you don't, to take them very seriously. The company you keep, the places that you are, the messages that you share, the things that you're passionate about. This doesn't have to be about business always. When I go into a business relationship, I'm as interested in the business relationship and the opportunity, but I'm also interested in who I'm going into that business opportunity with. Where do they spend their time? Do they like to fish? Do they like to play sports? Are they into their family? Do they like to travel? Or do they like to eat the same foods? Why? Because you want to do business with people that you like. And that is a key. People do business with people they like. So as they're looking to hire, or as they're looking to you to join their program, they're looking at you. They're analyzing you. If you're missing off the map, that says something. Whether you have a reason for it or not, they're making assumptions why you're invisible. And invisible in 2015 or 16 or 17 is probably not a good thing. Okay, and I know you've heard from the time you were this tall, be careful, you don't want to be doing keg stands on Twitter, it's going to hurt you for a job. And that's all pretty obvious, right? I think we all understand that. Some of us are still doing it. I remember a funny story. I was going to hire this girl, and she was spectacular. And our office was doing our due diligence on the social networks, and we saw her literally on Instagram twerking in her car, and it was like the weirdest thing you'd ever seen in your life, and our whole office freaked out. And they were like, oh my God, how are we going to look her in the face after seeing that? But we kind of understand that now. We're like, okay, we can't be doing that. But think about it this way. I'm here today. I periscoped this morning that I'm here with you guys. I'm so excited to be here. Now that's going out to my network, and my business partners, my associates, my future prospects are going, man, he must know his stuff. He's at Indiana State, whether it's true or not. Whether it's true or not. They're seeing that, and they say there's got to be something there. Let's dive into a little bit. Then they might read a little story that I wrote, or they might see the clients that I have, or maybe the team that I've built, and that might get them closer to making a decision to do business with us. So if you haven't, follow me. I also put in there, search Google Bryan Bruce. Why is that important? Because you got to own your personal brand, right? So when, search Bryan Bruce, do I find him? Do I not find him? Is he visible? Is he not? Usually your LinkedIn's going to show up. I encourage you to maintain that. That is your resume. And I don't know if you know this, and if you carry a paper resume, you probably don't need that. Maintain your LinkedIn and just hit PDF print, and that's your thing, right? And update it. And not only update it with your work history and where you went to school and those type of things, but also do posts in there. What you learned, what you saw, questions you have. Those are amazing opportunities for you to engage those networks. And then lastly, as I worked through my hotel career, and I'm going to get into my past and where I came from, I used to always, from the earliest of times, just LinkedIn follow people. And I started getting a lot of followers. And so then LinkedIn, there's this button where you can export your LinkedIn contacts to an Excel spreadsheet. So now, if you make a connection with me, maybe in a month or 6 months or a year from now, you can export your LinkedIn connections, and my name and my email will be in there. And if you need to communicate with me and say, hey, I started this new business, I'll be on your email distribution. So a lot of businesses can start an email database by extracting their LinkedIn profile to share stories, maybe to share your blog post, maybe to do whatever that you want to do. If you're in business, for example, if I do a meeting planning business, which I do, I can extract that list of meeting planners and I can send them a note saying, "Hey, I'm available. If you've got a meeting on the horizon, let me know, and I'd be happy to help you." Just a very interesting opportunity that many people don't realize, and I actually just learned about only a year or so ago. So anybody know what this is? Any clues? Yes, sir. Yes, it is. Yes, sir. So I live in Orlando, and my father moved us to. I'm from Pittsburgh. My family's from Pittsburgh, so I understand what cold is, although I don't enjoy it. Being in Orlando since I was 6 years old, I've become a Floridian, and this is about as cold what we're experiencing out there that I want to get. But growing up in Orlando, it's all about experiences. Walt Disney World, and this picture was taken over the weekend. I took my daughter. We have season passes, and we took her on Space Mountain. I took this picture, and I've got a couple other pictures of her. But it's all about experiences at Disney, and those experiences really make up the journey through Disney World, and why people are paying so much money for these tickets. An annual pass for a Florida resident is now over $1,000 a year. And the reason it's so expensive is there's so many people that want to do it, and they keep raising the rate, and it's still busy. Right? I mean, if they were raising rates and people were not coming, it would probably not work. But it's raising a rate and they keep coming. And the reason they keep raising it because they're trying to control the crowds, I would think. But the experiences they give their customers or their attraction goers is world class. And what we're trying to do in marketing now on social network is share those experiences. Share those experiences and tell a story. There's a lot of change happening at Disney World right now. If you go there, they're building Avatar Land, they're building this Star Wars attraction, and they're all doing this because Universal got real aggressive with Harry Potter. And Harry Potter put a hurtin' on Orlando market share shift. Woof! And Disney doesn't like when people shift from the big dog, right? They're like, what? We can let SeaWorld and Universal hang out, but it's really all about Disney. Until Harry Potter came around and they changed the game. And both of those parks are expanding rapidly. But in Disney World, they want to protect the customer experience so much that they barricade and block off all the construction. And this is a sign that's sitting on they have different signs hanging around the park on these construction walls. And this is one that I saw, and I took a picture of it. It's not the best picture, but it's I believe in being an innovator. Walt Disney World, man. God, Walt Disney, what a man. I mean, way ahead of his time. He was producing content when, there was very few channels to share it, and now there's so many channels to take advantage of it. But I believe in being an innovator. That's what I want to be. And in marketing, we've got to be an innovator. Because if you're doing the same strategies of yesterday or the year before or what you learned in school yesterday, you're probably going to lose. Because, Periscope. Anybody know what Periscope is? It just started. So if you're relying on what you learned, a year ago or yesterday, you probably are missing out on an opportunity. So we're staying on the front of the edge, which means we've got to be innovative, we've got to take chances, we've got to be confident, we've got to be not afraid to fail, and we've got to challenge ourselves and our teammates and our institutions and our businesses and our future customers or current customers to do the same thing. My background is in hotels. I started when I was in college. I was in communications. I wanted to be a radio, TV broadcaster, and I wanted to do that because I was a baseball player. I was an athlete, and I said, you know what? I can stay in sports. I was too small to go on and play professional baseball. I realized that very quickly, but I figured I could be on TV and stay in the game. And it was communications. It was a broadcast medium that really only existed in '92. When did I graduate? '97. There wasn't really any social network to be known of. So I wanted to do that. Well, I started doing it. I realized, oh God, these are terrible hours. I don't like the lifestyle. If I want to have a family, it's not going to happen. I'll probably have to move to Omaha, Nebraska, or Peoria, Illinois, or some of these cities that I don't want to go to. So I fell out of love with the idea of being in TV. So my sister said, why don't you go be a bellman at the airport hotel and just to pass some time to make some money. So I did. I went to the Hyatt Regency Orlando International Airport and I got a job. And that's the hotel on the left-hand side. It's the Hyatt Regency Orlando International Airport. And I was an overnight bellman, and then I was a doorman, and I was, and I said, you know what, this is a pretty good business.